I would now ask Ed Yarpy to come forward. For some, professional success can be measured by material things: a nice house, an expensive car, a robust stock portfolio. For Ed Yarpy, it is not the superficial that comprises the elements of his success. Rather, it is his thoughtful and generous philanthropy and service to others that are the indelible imprint Ed has made on this world. Ed Yarpy is one of the leading financial executives in New England, serving as the President and Chief Executive Officer of Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston since 2009. He has more than 30 years of remarkable experience in the banking industry, including his oversight of a complex and critically important merger between two established neighborhood banks during the financial crisis of that time. His leadership ensured that the Medway-based Strata Bank and Middlesex Savings Bank of Natick were able to survive and continue to serve their communities. At every step of his accomplished career, Ed has been steadfast in driving success for himself and others. And when the fortunes of a bank rise, so too do the fortunes of local small businesses looking to expand, and the couple looking to buy their dream home, and the parents looking to fund their child's wedding. Ed's people-centric approach, cultivating collaborative management teams, developing an extraordinarily talented and hardworking staff, is to be admired. But as laudatory as Ed's professional achievements may be, they are equaled and surpassed by his deep devotion to serving the community through his many philanthropic endeavors. Ed has given his time and energy as a board member for many organizations, including serving as the board chair for Dental Services of Massachusetts and the Roger Williams Medical Center, and on the boards of the United Way of Fall River and the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce. So much about Ed can be learned through the organizations he has chosen to support, as each is devoted to helping others and fostering a strong social fabric. Like his sister, Kathleen Dene, class of '79, his uncle Tom O'Connor, class of 1952, and other members of the O'Connor family who have graduated from St. Anselm, Ed's passion for his undergraduate alma mater is an important part of his legacy. His years of service on the St. Anselm Board of Trustees culminated with his being an instrumental chair of the board during a particularly important time, and also in serving on the Presidential Search Committee in 2018 and 2019, an undertaking that brought me to the hilltop, but don't hold that against him, okay? A lifelong learner, Ed graduated from St. Anselm in 1981 with a degree in business and economics, and went on to Notre Dame, where he earned a master's and later a PhD in economics. The impressive heights of his professional career have not distracted him from putting his family first, including his wife, Macrina, his 3 children, his son-in-law, and grandson and granddaughter. Nor have they kept him from enjoying pursuits such as golfing and fishing in his free moments, and when he retires in December, he'll have more time to winter in his Florida home. So through his incredible service to others, not to mention a life well lived, Ed is the embodiment of what it means to be Anselmian. In recognition of his exemplary achievements, his commitment to the betterment of the world, and his devotion to his St. Anselm home, Abbot Mark, I am honored to present, for the degree of Doctor of Business, honoris causa, Edward A. Yarpy III.
Edward A. Yarpy III, by the authority of the Board of Trustees of St. Anselm College, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Business, honoris causa. In accordance with usual custom, you are entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain to this degree here and elsewhere. In token thereof, we award you this diploma and invest you with the appropriate hood.
It gives me great pleasure at this time to call upon Ed Yarpy to deliver the commencement address.
Okay, even I'm not that tall. Good morning, Abbot Mark, President Favaza, fellow honorees Bob and Beverly Grapponi, the Benedictine community, trustees, faculty, staff, and today in particular, most importantly, the graduating class of 2021 and your families. Greetings to everyone online also. As my dad would say, on days like today, and long before Travis Tritt made it into a popular country music song, it's a great day to be alive. Congratulations on surviving and thriving for 4 years at St. Anselm. I know that you will look back at these 4 years as foundational to your life and hopefully as fun too. Congratulations to Dr. Favaza and the senior leadership team, faculty, monks, college employees, and all those who work to make this academic year happen and to make today happen. Today is not happening this way in many other places. I want to recognize Abigail Campbell for her insightful comments earlier and President Favaza as well for his. I'm humbled and honored to receive an honorary degree today. I'm not sure who that person is that Dr. Favaza described, but it's a particular honor to receive it from this institution that I love so much. And I hope to share a few thoughts with you on that this morning. President Favaza called me last year and informed me that I had been chosen to receive an honorary degree. I was quite surprised and really quite touched. Then he asked me to give the commencement address. I took a second, collected my thoughts, and said, I wonder who canceled on him. My second thought was, I only get to do this once, so let's not screw it up. I'll try not to. Before starting, I'd like to thank and recognize my wife, Macrina, who's already been referenced, and our 3 children, Christy, Eddie, and Katie, for all being here today and for being there for me every day. Macrina, really, my wife, should really be an honorary St. Anselm alum. I was on the board for 23 years, and she came back and forth with me every year during those 23 years, multiple times a year, and became great friends with many of the Benedictines, trustees, and others. So, much has changed in the world in the past year or so, including, as has already been referenced once or twice, a worldwide pandemic, a related economic shutdown and recovery challenges, unprecedented fiscal and monetary policy responses, the majority political leadership of our country, and social awareness of systemic racism and the need for us to do better at many things. That's a lot for any class to endure, but out of adversity comes resilience, and out of challenges come opportunities. You are entering the post-college world at an inflection point in many ways, but you are resilient, you have endless opportunity, and you will make the world a better place. Here's how we think about and address some of these issues at our company in, as best we can, a non-political way. And as mentioned, my company is the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston. We strive to be mission-driven every day. Our mission is to provide funding to financial institutions across the 6 New England states that in turn support their local economies in the form of business and personal loans, housing, affordable housing, and economic development. Everything we do every day is toward those ends. Within that, we've identified 4 non-negotiable corporate values, for our employees. We call them the price of admission. The price of admission to come to work at our bank. You must arrive with those values and you must demonstrate them while you work with us. Those four are integrity, respect, reliability, and excellence. Importantly, respect includes recognizing the value of diversity and inclusion in our workplace with a focus, very concentrated focus, on our employees, our vendors, our capital markets partners, and our board of directors. We've also adopted a very simple but clear statement against discrimination that I think we can all agree on, again, in a non-political way. And it says, the bank and our Employee Inclusion Council wholeheartedly condemn any and all forms of violence and discrimination based on race, national origin, ancestry, or other differences. These are all very complex issues, obviously, but at a high level, this is how we think about these things and how we act at our company. So, after that long introduction, I have a 60-minute version and a 15-minute version. By round of applause, how many want to hear the 60-minute version? Just as I thought. I will endeavor to make this 15 minutes or less. Let me start with message one. Message one, watch out, pay attention, it happens fast. It's true that some days are very long, but it's also true that the years fly by. 40 years ago, I sat exactly where you're sitting today. Let me tell you, it seems like yesterday. Now I'm fortunate to be receiving an honorary degree, which in some ways is another reminder that I'm getting old. I remember sitting where you are thinking, who are those old people on the stage anyways? Now I'm one of them. Father Brian Hare was commencement speaker 40 years ago. At my graduation, he worked at the U.S. Catholic Bishops' Conference at the time. He's 80 years old today, professor of the practice of religion and public life at Harvard, and the Secretary of Health and Social Services on the staff of Cardinal Sean O'Malley in the Archdiocese of Boston. Clearly a smart and successful man. I have not a clue what he said 40 years ago at my graduation. Just as I expect, you will likely not remember a thing I say today. But whatever he said, I'm sure it was good. Make sure you remember that. 40 years later, again, 40 years, I bring my wife of 35 years, 3 adult children, and have 2 grandchildren, and am wrapping up a 35-year career. So as I said, watch out, pay attention, it does happen fast. So I thought I'd share with you some things I remember about my college years here. I remember formal logic with the late Father Anselm, specifically the syllogism he taught us, if A then B, and if B then C, then if A then C. It's surprising how often such simple logic comes up in life. Sometimes the simplest things are very profound. I also remember, of course, as I'm sure you all know, St. Anselm's famous ontological argument on the existence of God. Reciting that and explaining it really should be a graduation requirement. You'll get asked about it many times in the next 40 years, believe me. I remember the humanities program. We were the first class to go through what was then a full 2-year program. A lot of life lessons were learned there from readings that I never would have read and discussions I never would have engaged in otherwise. I remember Professor John Romps. I'm not sure if any of you had the pleasure of having him for a professor. He was a great economics professor, and he was known for giving extra credit if you could name the 8 reindeer in reverse order at the end of your test. By the way, times were a little different in terms of economics. When I graduated in 1981, short-term interest rates were 19%. Today, they're 0. So a lot has changed. I also remember Spanish. Spanish was a struggle for me. I took Brother Andrew's introductory class and Senor Viros's intermediate class, and I had a real mental block and challenge with Spanish. I can't remember but a few words today of Spanish, but I do remember a number of Senor Viros's proverbs. Pan, pan, vino, vino, más vale tarde que nunca, el silencio es de oro, And if you understand Spanish, you might be thinking El silencio este oro right now. Silence is golden for those of you non-Spanish speakers. I remember 4 years of playing and practicing basketball in Stoutenburg Gymnasium as part of a wonderful group of teammates on one of the greatest basketball floors ever, the Stoutenburg Gymnasium floor. Although I did leave my left knee ACL there in 1978. It reminds me every day for the last 40 years. The Abbey Church, I remember, still a beautiful, peaceful, contemplative place to visit all these years later. Subs at NATO's, a tradition that I understand continues. And another one I also understand continues. Believe it or not, we drank Mai Tais and Scorpion Bowls at Wattoy 40 years ago. I remember the Red Key. I'm told that I am forever memorialized in the answer to a trivia question, who is the tallest Red Key member ever? You might hear that occasionally during Pledge Week. The complete answer used during our Pledge Week was Edward Deadwood Wyatt Alfred Yarpy III Esquire, Sir. And if the pledges didn't say it right, it didn't work out well. I remember the biggest food fight that ever took place in the cafeteria following Bucky Dent's pop fly over the Green Monster in Fenway in 1978 for the Yankees to win a one-game playoff versus the Red Sox. It was ugly. You've never seen anything like it. I'm glad that the Red Sox fortunes have changed since 2004 at least. I remember the pub. I lived in Dominic. I had to walk by the pub on my way to and from everything on campus. I probably stopped a few too many times. The drinking age was 18. Draft beers were 25 cents. Pitchers were $1.50, and you can imagine it was a little sloppy at times. But things were different then, and it was a long time ago, so there are also a number of other things I try not to remember. The one good thing about getting older is I'm now old enough to say, credibly, I don't recall. So those are things I remember from being here. My relationship with St. Anselm College has continued and grown since I graduated. As noted earlier, there's no institution I love more than St. Anselm, and for which I'm more grateful. Hopefully you will feel the same 40 years from now. My closest friends in life include, to this day, my St. Anselm College basketball teammates and classmates. I'm eternally grateful to the late brother Joachim Froelich, who was president of the college in 1981. I went to graduate school at his urging. He personally called and got me the financial support to make my first choice, Notre Dame, viable for me. That had a tremendous impact on my life. I earned my graduate degrees. I met my wife there. We have 3 great kids. I've had a wonderful career, and it's all because of the late brother Joachim. I served on the board for 23 years, as you've heard, and I've served with many good and successful people who volunteer their time to make St. Anselm work and to get better. I've had the honor of working with multiple college presidents, abbots, faculty, and other trustees, and meeting people like Dominic DiMaggio, George Herbert Walker Bush, and George W. Bush through my work there. I'm grateful for and have deep bonds with Abbot Mark and former college president, Father Jonathan DeFelice, who's on the stage today, who, among other things, and if you want to describe a long and meaningful relationship, I don't know how you could question that after hearing this, but they both celebrated my mother's and my father's funerals and our daughter's wedding. I have many other important friends and mentors still here. Joe Favazza, you heard him say this morning, I was on the search committee that selected Joe to be the president of the college. I think we can say we did a good job. Jim Flanagan, the head of development, and who's involved in just about everything behind the scenes at St. Anselm College. Darren Montgomery, our new athletic director, relatively new, solidified our position as a Division II athletic program and continues to build and support all aspects of St. Anselm athletics. And head basketball coach Keith Dixon, who, interestingly, Keith went to UNH and played at UNH, and he and I, believe it or not, played against each other in 1977 and 1978. Now Keith has been at St. Anselm for 35 years and has over 650 wins at St. Anselm College. I think we can safely now say he's one of us. So those are the things I remember, as well as the things that represent my continued relationship with the college. What I'd like to do now is just share with you probably the meat of my address, and it's nothing startlingly philosophical or trailblazing, but useful, I hope, for you to contemplate. I'd like to share with you the 8 things I have learned to be the most important in life, at least to me, over the last 40 years. Number 1, and I'm a quantitative guy, you're going to hear numbers. Number 1, family. Blood is thicker than water. Nothing is a stronger bond. Your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, your aunts and uncles, your cousins, your spouse, your children, nieces and nephews, and someday children and grandchildren. These people will be with you through thick and thin in ways and at times you cannot predict. But they will be there for you, and you will be there for them. Number 2, friends. These are family that you have chosen. Good friends will be with you like family for the rest of your life. And you won't need to ask for their help or their friendship, and they won't need to ask you. You'll know when to be there for each other. Number 3, work. It is fulfilling and critical to who you are. I'll digress here just for a minute and offer some simple advice as it relates to work to help you hopefully be successful at whatever you choose your life's work to be. Think. You learn that here. You can learn whatever specifics you need to know on the job. You've been taught how to think. Be a person of substance. Don't just repeat a headline or a topic sentence. Be able to back it up. Be concise. Attention spans are shortening. Deliver your message quickly and succinctly. Yes, note to self. I get it. Be a self-starter. Don't wait for other people to ask you to do something. Do it or ask how to do it. Be positive. Look for opportunities in ways you can add value. Someone once told me, put yourself in the way of good fortune and success. Don't let anyone say it was lucky. Work hard, practice, study, research, investigate. You want to be ready when a great opportunity comes along. Pay yourself first. Start saving as much as you can in your 401k from day one and increase contributions to it whenever you can. I can't help giving a little advice, financial advice as a conservative banker, but listen to that advice, please. And don't take yourself too seriously. Be able to laugh at yourself. So, back to my list. We've covered family, friends, and work of the 8. Number 4, faith. Your faith will always give you strength when you need it. Whether you are Catholic or of another faith, be grateful for everything you have. Stop and think about that daily in prayer and or meditation. We are all very fortunate in so many ways. It's no secret that the Catholic Church is currently struggling in a number of ways, and the declining numbers are sobering. But don't lose faith in your faith. Think about ways to help the church adapt, further integrate women and lay people, and be attractive to all, and then help it get there. In some ways, I'm speaking to myself here too. I struggle with some of these same challenges myself. Number 5, health. A good friend and I each went through some health challenges a couple of years ago, and over dinner we agreed on the simple wisdom his father had shared with him. Health is wealth. We cannot pursue many things we love or want to do if we don't have our health. So it's a tired expression in some ways, but keep a sound mind and a sound body. It's been said by Greek philosophers, Roman leaders, and lots of other people. It's true. Be physically healthy, be mentally healthy, be financially healthy. Physically healthy, be well and be fit. It gives you strength and stamina, and you will feel much better. Mentally healthy, education is critical, and it doesn't end here today. Exercise and challenge your mind to continuously learn and to be strong and fit as well as your body. Know also that mental illness can't be seen, but it is real. A majority of Americans through the pandemic suffered depression and/or anxiety. It can be helped. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you ever need it. And financially healthy, be accountable for yourself. You can't be entirely reliable on your employer, Social Security, it may or may not be there by the time you retire, or anything or anyone else for your future. Make yourself financially healthy. Number 6, other people, other, that is, than family and friends. Recognize people who have helped you and people who forgave you or gave you a second chance. Appreciate, remember, and thank them. Be compassionate and be supportive. Help others who need it in places and people that helped you, including St. Anselm. I'll come back to that in a minute. Kindness. At this divisive time in our country, do something nice for someone else. It doesn't make you weird. You might actually like it and feel good about yourself, and it makes the world a better place. Number 7, our country, the United States of America. We all know our country is not without its flaws and problems, but it is still the greatest country in the world. People from other countries are still trying, and sadly, in some cases, literally dying to come here. So respect and appreciate our country, and know it isn't perfect, and work to make it better. And number 8, St. Anselm. You've heard it at least once, if not twice already today. Come back. I hope you will increasingly value what you have learned here and the experiences you've had here as foundational to your life. Know that the monks sitting over here and several behind me truly have an unconditional love for students and alums. They will always be here for you no matter what. Be generous in return. Unlike some other colleges and universities, St. Anselm is not a hedge fund masquerading as a college. The financial needs here are real. Start contributing when you can, in any amount you can, and increase it a bit each year. So that's the end of my list of 8 things that I have found to be important in the last 40 years. Let me just repeat them. Family, friends, faith, health, other people, our country, and St. Anselm College. I hope that some of those things, if not all of them, resonate with you now, and maybe even more so in the future. So in summary, watch out, pay attention, life happens fast. Love and remember this place, the friends you have made, and the growth that occurred here. Focus on what's important in life, for which there are at least 8 important categories in my experience. Live and work a purposeful, constructive, and value-based life, and know that you have the skills to learn and do anything. Everyone here supports you and looks forward to all the great things you will do professionally and personally. Thank you, St. Anselm College, and to all the Benedictines for all you have given me. I hope we all gather again in 40 years when I will be 102 years old. The class of 2021 will be celebrating their 40th anniversary of today's graduation, and likely one of you will be giving this talk. Now that would be a great day to be alive. Congratulations again. The world excitedly awaits you.